Hi, guys, welcome to another episode of the Soft and Tender podcast. My name is Sandra and I am your host. So, today, guys, I'm not really feeling too good. I have a mouth sore and it's impeding my speech capabilities or capabilities, but I'm here regardless. So, today, we're going to be talking about energy. So if you listened to last week, if you haven't, you really should, and then come back to this. I mentioned something about, people returning the energy you give them. So I thought to elaborate on that today. So everybody knows that in order to maintain relationships, like you guys must be on the same page and on the same level of vibes and energy. Like, because if the person is not giving the same strength or putting the same effort into what you guys have, whether it's a friend, a boyfriend, a wife, a husband, whatever, or whomever, or whatever relationship you have, then that the relationship is not going to work. I remember a while ago, a friend of mine was in school and she was complaining about how she had this architectural project to do, and then she was assigned to a group, and she was the only person in the group that actually wanted to do the work. So because of that, the other group members did not really know what she was doing because they just left her to do the entire work, and their grades depended on how well they knew what they did as a team. Like, they were not going to give scores individual. They were not going to give scores based on your individual knowledge. They were going to give scores based on the performance of the group. So if only one person in the group knows what the project really is about, and they decide that because the others don't know, maybe they're supposed to get a D or something, and that person on her own can get an A, then she would get a D because of that person. Anyhow, after so much prayers and trying to comfort her that it was going to be okay and all of that, her professor ended up not punishing her for her teammates' lack of knowledge, and she was the only one that was not asked to retake the course. Like, they all had those people redo the project and retake the entire coursework and all of that. Like, that's just a miracle. But like, just imagine that the professor didn't have mercy on her and God didn't come through for her. I mean, God comes through all the time, but like in that particular moment, what if she felt her parents were not answered and she got the D that, or she failed the course or was asked to repeat the coursework like her other teammates did? Like, that's what lack of energy does. And I feel like it affects us in every area of life, not just like in schoolwork or at work. When there's like a team project and you have to deliver on it, and maybe it's like maybe like your sales associates, and everybody has to go out to work, and your team decides to go, and you're the only one actually putting in the work, and so the result you get is not equivalent to what a team would get if all the team members participated. So I feel like sometimes we need to get out of relationships, friendships, whatever, when necessary, especially when we don't feel like our energy is being matched. Now, I completely understand that not everybody can be at their 100 all the time, but like, there was something that I read a couple weeks ago, and it said that like, a marriage or a relationship between two people should not be 50-50 to make 100. It should be 100-100. So like, when somebody's not able to bring their 100, and the other person has their 100, they're still above 100. And when the two of them are not able to bring their 100, at the most their total can come to 100, and they're always going to be okay. As regards to bringing 50-50, and then when you don't have your own 50, like you guys are now down way below average. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And like, over a year ago now, right, I had this friend that had told me, I mean, I consider this person to be my friend. I don't know if it was a mutual feeling, right? This is what I mean about energy. Like, to me, this person was my friend, like one of my closest friends, and I guess this person didn't see me as a friend, not even to talk of being a close friend. But this person had told me that, you know, it was a ride or die thing, in the sense that if anybody upset me, or if I had beef with anybody, like, the person automatically has beef with that person. And I know a lot of people beg to differ about things like that, like, oh, I'm not going to inherit my friend's beef. But sometimes it's actually necessary. Like, you reach a certain level of loyalty in some relationships where your friend's beef actually becomes your beef. I'm not saying you should inherit your acquaintance's beef. That doesn't make sense, right? But in some relationships, right, when you've gotten to a particular level of closeness and commitment and loyalty, you don't even have to think twice before you inherit your friend's beef. Like, before you inherit this person that you love so much, whatever beef they may be having, before you inherit it, because, like, you automatically don't like that person because this person has hurt your friend, has hurt your lover, has hurt your spouse, whatever. And this person had said that, like, I'm going to be inheriting your beefs. Whoever is beefing with you, whoever you're beefing with, I'm also beefing with that person. Like, no, I mean, how else does somebody tell you they love you? How else does somebody say that they're your friend? But you guys, I guess maybe jumping to conclusions is not all that there is to life. Anyway, a situation came where I now had a beef. And the person I had a beef with, clearly I had a beef. But the point was, the person I had a beef with, my friend chose that person's side. And to me, it was like, maybe you never should have just mentioned that, my beef was your beef, or that you would inherit my beef. Because at the end of the day, you did exactly the opposite of what you asked me. I mean, of what you said you would do. Like, maybe if you hadn't, like, made a promise, or in quotes, vowed to do so, maybe it wouldn't have hurt, and I would have just felt, because for the longest time, I did not believe that beef should be inherited. But then along the way, I just realized that, at some point in some relationships, it naturally happens. Like, it's something that, just happens, and you don't even realize that you've inherited this person's beef. It's like when your friend is dating a guy, and this guy hurts your friend, automatically you hate the guy. Like, you're like, you don't want to see him. You're angry that your friend is hurt. And even if they do get back together, you may keep your opinion to yourself, but you're not going to be happy with the guy. So that's how inherited beef works. So when this person that had said they were going to inherit my beef, yada, making mouth, talking long talk, ended up doing the opposite, I was really, really offended. I was so hurt, because it's like, the thing where people say that don't promise when I did not ask you to promise, because at the end of the day, you may not even fulfill that promise, and you just promised when I did not even need you to promise. Like, I did not ask you to inherit my beef. I did not ask you, if inheriting beef was what you do. I did not ask how you felt about it. You just came to me and just told me that. And for you to now do quite the opposite, like, that was really painful for me. Like, it was just such a sore moment in my life, because I did not think that, somebody would break my trust. And then it was then, this person was like, oh, like, we're never friends to start with. I was like, I mean, when you tell somebody you inherit their beef, is that not, stretching the hand out and saying, I'm your friend, I love you, and I'm going to be by your side regardless of what happens? I mean, how else? Like, you guys, like, make it make sense to me, please. Anyway, I realized this, but it was already too late. And I could be a very forgiving person, like, bury the hatchets, leave it 6 feet under and move on. But, like, this time, I just decided that, honestly, because I can't get over the fact that I did not ask you to give me that level of loyalty, and you promised it to me, and then you did the exact opposite. Like, you don't deserve me in your life. You don't, because, like, I was the backbone of this relationship we had anyway. I fought for us to get to the level of, friendship that we attained, and I did not ask you to make that commitment for you to make it and then go back on your word. I think it's just going to be better for me. And like anytime I look back, like I'm always trying to reflect on my actions, on any action or any decision I make, trying to figure out, if it was the best thing, how I could have done better, if where I am now in my life, maybe it's because of the decision I made, if I could have taken a different decision and think of how it could have panned out. But every time I think of it, I'm always so proud of myself, because I'm like, you did that for you, and like I'm so happy. Like sometimes I miss this friend, honestly, but when I think, I'm like, oh, I miss this person, and then I'm like, you know what, I did that for me, and it was not something that I could just bury and move on. It was something I needed to bury and leave behind. It was not something I needed to bury and then be talking to the ghosts, or raise 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 the dead up. Like it wasn't something that was not what was supposed to happen. So, and I feel like a lot of people are in that kind of relationship where they give more of themselves than they get back. Like, you can even tell when somebody's making the effort to match your energy, and when somebody's just, taking you for granted. Another friend of mine, we're talking, and I was not happy with the decision that they made. And, for in the beginning, I did not know how to express, like, I'm not happy with this thing. I'm not happy with this decision you made. I don't think it was the best for you. I don't think that you're ready, to take up such commitments. But I didn't know how to say it, because I did not want to offend this person. At the end of the day, I ended up telling this person how I really felt. And I was so happy that I actually waited, because I just felt probably if I had said it in the heat of the moment when I was feeling what I was feeling, I would have offended this person, and that was not my intent. So by the time I did finally say what was on my mind, I realized that, this person was just not giving me the energy that I needed. I mean, so I thought it was just because up until the point that I told this person how I felt, I wasn't really in constant communication, because I felt it to be hypocritical of me to keep growing a relationship and pretending to be content with the decision they made, and to be happy, and to be to give my stamp of approval. It would be hypocritical of me to continue the relationship on such good terms when they don't know how I really feel. So I waited until I had said my mind, and then kept up the communication, or kept the communication back on track. And then I realized, like, this energy really isn't given. And somebody had told me before then and said, this person doesn't rate you, this person doesn't see you for what you're worth. And I just felt like, people hate, and people, maybe this person doesn't like my friend, and this person just thinks that, I shouldn't be friends with this person, but that's their opinion. Like, I knew this person before you, so there's not like inheriting beef, because I actually even knew you through this person. So, and we're not even that close for me to now say that, I'm going to teach this person to be your friend. I'm not that kind of person, all of that. But as time went on, you guys, I started realizing that this person may be right, because I now started getting lied to. I started getting told crazy different stories. My questions, random simple questions, will be answered with questions or LOL. I started watching Lie to Me a few days ago. And you guys, if you haven't watched Lie to Me, it's a series. You guys should need to get on it. Like, it's crazy. Like, and if you have any other recommendations of movies like Lie to Me, please let me know. Anyway, and in Lie to Me, right, when they're trying to accost a person for lying or for committing a crime, they'll be like, don't answer a question with a question, don't deflect. So this person was always deflecting, and I felt, it's like, almost questions like, oh, what did you do today? And then it's like, LOL, have you eaten? Like, don't deflect. I just asked, a simple question, and it requires a very simple answer. In fact, some of these questions I asked just require the yes or no questions, and they'll be deflecting. So I felt, clearly I don't mean as much to you as you do to me, because all this deflecting go worth it. It's not worth it. And I honestly really do not have the energy to keep this kind of relationship going. So I told the person, I think that's one thing that I think I've always done when I've decided to end relationships with people, is that I have told them why, maybe not in explicit terms, but like I have let them know that, I don't feel comfortable in this again, and I think it would be better for me to move on. I think the first friendship that will come out to end, I explained, and I was like, see, what you did was wrong, it was trash. And this is something that you've been doing for a while and I've been ignoring, and because nobody's perfect. But like, for you to come at me and attack me this way, I think it's best we go our separate ways. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? And so I also told this person, like, I think I'm going to just mind my business from now on, because at this point, a question as simple as how are you, your answer will be deflected, and so I'm not about that energy, and I don't think it's worth it. So you know what, goodbye. Anytime you're ready to tell me anything I need to know, you can always hit me up and I'll reply you, and that's that. But besides that, just let me be. And it was then I just realized that honestly, energy is really, really important. There are people that you will talk to, after so many months, after so many weeks, and you can still feel that you're like way up there in the person's life. Like, that's when, I understand when people say, oh, you're my friend, we don't have to talk every day. We don't have to communicate every day. Any day we are able to catch up, it's going to be a vibe. And I do understand those kind of relationships. In fact, I'm in that kind of relationship with so many people. And I realize that anytime I speak to these people, like, the energy is always there. It's like you're giving me back just as I am giving you. And when you're able to tell me that, like, bro, I'm feeling down, I'm not feeling too good. And I know that it's not because, you've shanked me, or because you don't rate me, or because you feel that I'm not worth your energy. It's just because you're having a downtime in your life. And so, you guys, I just want to let you know that always make sure that the energy you're giving out is what you're receiving, and you're getting at least, if not 100% of what you're dishing out. Almost 100%, you're seeing the effort. A lot of people will tell you that, oh, you don't have to wait until you have $1 million before you get married. You and your spouse should grow together. You guys are still young. Yeah, understanding girlfriend, all those yada talks. And a lot of people want to wait until they have it all. Like, the thing is, like, you may never have it all, like, all at once. People, when they're young, they want to have boyfriends and all of that. And then they want to get married, and then once they're married, they want to have children. Once they have children, they want to raise those children, send them to the best schools. And, like, life just keeps going on and on like that. Like, there's never a break. You're always wanting something. Or if you're career focused, you want to get good grades in school. When school is over, you want to get the perfect job. At the same time, you're probably even wanting to keep a boyfriend, or get a boyfriend, or get a husband, get married. And maybe you need to help a family member out. Like, you can't have everything at once. And because of that, you need somebody that is going to be able to catch up with you, and somebody that has the potential. That's what they tell people when you want to get married. Like, don't look for money, look for potential. And you want somebody that at least has the potential and has the hustle spirit to catch up with you if they're not yet where you are, or to fight a good fight of faith, all of that. So if you see that the person you have in your corner is not fighting, to be able to have the energy that you're giving them, and this person is not putting in the effort to make your relationship work, and this person is always deflecting, or you expect this person to have a certain level of loyalty to you, and they're always choosing whoever you're fighting with or whoever you're complaining with that is not your parent or sibling. Because honestly, I don't believe in taking the side of your friend when their family is fighting them. Let me explain what I mean. Like, if they just come to you randomly, like, my father did this or my mother did this, I think the wisest thing is for you to be like, oh, what if she thought this? Because you really haven't heard the two sides of the story, right? But now, when it becomes something that it happens every time, like the same thing over and over again, like this parent or this sibling or this auntie or uncle is doing to your friend, then of course you can pick a side, because at this point they're blatantly hurting. I was going to say blatantly. They're blatantly hurting your friend. Then you can pick a side, because in relationships, when you inherit beef, right, and this person makes up with the person they were beefing, it gets kind of hard to stop beefing on behalf of your friend. And then you see that these people are together, they're joyous, they are joyful, and you even feeling so bad, like, is this the person I'm fighting for, I'm beefing for? You're doing lovey-dovey with this person that hurts you this bad. So I think before you inherit beef of your loved one, of someone you love or someone you cherish, beef that they have with a family member, I don't think it should be the first thing you do. I think you should be able to come to a conclusion that, okay, like, it was not just a one-off, my sister slapped me, maybe that's too much. It was not just a one-off, my sister was rude to me, walk off fighting, because siblings always fight. So if you say you're going to take one side and then they make up with their sibling, the likelihood that they leave you and go on with their sibling is really high, and you probably do not want that. So anyway, I hope I have said hasn't confused you. I hope I've been able to convince and not confuse you that you should make sure that the relationships you're in should have the energy, or at least the efforts, that you recognize as being worth it, or you recognize as being deserving of, because you really, really, I can promise you guys, do not want to be in a relationship where you're giving more than you would ever get, and you're giving more than this person even wants. You can be giving more than what somebody's giving you, but the person actually wants to give you more than they're able to, but they're just not able to, right? Like, that is even still okay. But in a situation where they decide that you don't deserve their energy, you don't deserve their time, you don't deserve answers to your questions, I think it's time to cut that shit off. Like, you can actually be forgiving. I'm not saying don't forgive, please forgive, because our Father in heaven will not forgive us if we don't forgive the sins of the people that trespass against us. So forgive, right? And in fact, you can even forgive and forget. But be wise. Be wise. Don't make the same mistake twice. And I hope God will help us all. Anyway, that's it for today. Next week we'll be talking about respect. That's something I've been wanting to talk about for the longest time. And so I hope to see you then. Thank you guys for your lovely messages from last week's episode. Don't forget to share, listen on as many platforms as possible. Respond to the Q&A and the poll. I think I'm going to scrap the Q&A and just leave the poll. I feel like polls are much easier to respond to. I'll respond to the poll if you're listening on Spotify. If you're not listening on Spotify, head over to Spotify and respond to the poll. And check the description box for details on my social media platforms. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.